Welcome to U.S. News Source Channel. Critical logistics point of the Russian soldiers was hit. Railway junction, through which supplies could be supplied to almost all of Donbass, was severely damaged. Russian army is getting more and more desperate on the Eastern Front. Located in the Ilovaisk region and providing logistics flow to a large part of Donbass, this railway junction was used by Russian troops. But according to the breaking news, the Ukrainian armed forces carried out mass rocket attacks on the Russian logistics point in this region. Massive rocket fires have been made to this critical point. It is known that Ukrainian troops mostly target critical points. This Russian logistics point is also located in an important location close to the Russian border. It is known that it provides supply flow from the borders of Russia to the point in this region, and through this railway, it carries out logistics flow to many regions in Donbass. However, after this move of the Ukrainian troops, the critical point was rendered unusable. This will make it more difficult for Russian troops to provide a flow of military equipment and ammunition to this front. Russian soldiers, who are left with insufficient military equipment and ammunition on the fronts, will be even weaker and more vulnerable. This makes defeats inevitable on the Moscow side. Ukraine, which started major operations on the Eastern Front, increased its important advances. According to the breaking news, nearly 800 Ukrainian soldiers started preparations for the operation against the critical Russian military points on the Zaporizhia front in the southeast. After the long deployment of Russian soldiers in this region with dangerous moves, the Ukrainian armed forces are now on the move, preparing for a large-scale operation against the Russian troops stationed around the nuclear power plant on the front. Moreover, if the Ukrainian forces can gain control in this area, an opportunity will be provided to land on the left bank of the front and the risky situation that has tensed many countries will come to an end. It was also reported that Ukrainian troops destroyed many Russian tanks every day with various tactics, using artillery and unmanned aerial vehicles. It was stated that these tactics were carried out in the form of see, target, destroy with aerial reconnaissance. Artillery of the Ukrainian armed forces destroyed 3 Russian tanks in the direction of the Kupiansk region in Kharkiv and damaged Russian military positions. Since the beginning of the war on the territory of Ukraine, Moscow has lost close to 2,920 tanks. In fact, many Russian tanks were captured as a result of Russian soldiers retreating from the fronts, leaving behind many military equipment. It is also known that the Ukrainian forces used Russian tanks, especially on the front lines, during the war. In fact, as a result of Russia's failures, the Ukrainian army reportedly confiscated enough Russian tanks to even form a new tank battalion. It was stated that the captured T-62 tanks are old tanks of the T-55 series, which were developed for the war in Ukraine and equipped with various features. However, Russia lost these tanks due to many strategic mistakes. This provided an opportunity for the Ukrainian soldiers to attack the Russian troops with the Russian tank. After increasing mutual attacks on the Eastern Front, a Ukrainian tank column of at least 10 tanks was reportedly advancing in the direction of Bakhmut on the Donetsk front. As a result of sending these tanks to the front, it is aimed to strengthen the Ukrainian soldiers deployed in the region with additional reinforcements. It is even known that this region is important for both countries. Duels take place between the two armies with hundreds of artillery shots every day in the region. After such military reinforcements, it seems that the Ukrainian soldiers want to secure their every advance. Russian soldiers, who have been attacking this region for months, have neither succeeded or advanced effectively. On the contrary, the biggest losses were mostly inflicted on this front. 2 powerful explosions occurred in the Kinbun Peninsula, which is a key region bordering the Crimea and the Black Sea. It is thought that Ukrainian forces have carried out a move towards Russian military points in this region. This region, which is of great importance due to its location, is very close to both the critical fronts in the southern lands and the Crimea. Moreover, this peninsula is located on the Black Sea waters. All these situations increased the importance of the region even more. It is known that some of the Russian military ships are stationed in this sea. This makes progress in critical areas more important. Any advance of the Ukrainian troops in the regions may lead to the launch of HIMARS operations. General Staff of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that Russia has important reserves in the north of the Crimean territory in order to strengthen its troops on several fronts. It was announced that the Dzhankoy region and its surroundings, where the military equipment of the Russian troops were transported, became the largest military base in Crimea. In fact, according to what is stated, there are more than 700 units of weapons and military equipment in this region. It is known that Russia has been stationed on the territory of Crimea for a long time and received support from its ships in the Black Sea during the war. However, Ukrainian forces had made several moves both to the Russian military navy in the Black Sea and to important Russian military points in the Crimea. It was also known that Russia has deployed the Kalibr cruise missile carrier, which has the capacity to fire 8 missiles, and 12 Russian ships in the Black Sea. It is also known that 5 Kalibr cruise missile carriers and 9 Russian ships, capable of firing 79 missiles, are deployed in the Mediterranean. However, the naval forces of the Ukrainian Armed Forces reported that 6 Russian ships are on combat duty over the Black Sea and that ships carrying Kalibr cruise missiles have been removed from this sea. Moreover, it was stated that there was no ship carrying Kalibr missiles on the Sea of Azov and only 2 ships were kept for war duty. Moscow's removal of such ships from Ukrainian territory shows that it fears possible attacks. This may seem normal, because there were a lot of casualties during the war. At the same time, Moscow, which was exposed to many sanctions, had to face serious problems in the economic field as well as having difficulties in the military field. It is also known that these Kalibr cruise missiles are quite expensive. Use of these ammunition also increases the cost of Russia considerably. Moreover, many of them can be destroyed by Ukrainian air defense units. This time, the Ukrainian Air Force carried out 2 hits on the important points where Russia's anti-aircraft missile systems are located, and 15 on the points where the Russian forces' military equipment is located. Ukraine's rocket and artillery units hit 3 important military points where Russian forces and military equipment are located. Since the beginning of the war, these units continue to cause serious damage to many Russian military points every day with hundreds of shooting missions. General Staff of the Armed Forces of Ukraine again announced the latest losses of Russian troops. Ukrainian troops destroyed 7 unmanned aerial vehicles, 6 armored combat vehicles, 1 artillery system and 3 tanks of the Russian army during the day. Moreover, more than 500 Russian soldiers were neutralized in one day. Number of Russian soldiers neutralized on the territory of Ukraine since the beginning of the war has exceeded 89,000. This war, which Russia started months ago, causes many losses on its own behalf. As a result of serious losses with each passing day, the tension in Moscow started to increase. Moreover, the increase in this tension causes the motivation of the commanders and soldiers on the fronts to decrease. Russian troops, on the other hand, whose motivation for the war has decreased, make more mistakes on the fronts and cannot make a successful advance. All these situations have a great impact on the course of the war. If the strategic progress and successful operations of the Ukrainian armed forces continue, greater success will be achieved in the future. On the other hand, as long as Russia loses more soldiers and equipment on important fronts, it will not be able to achieve a war success. In the long run, the party that advances the war most accurately and determines its decisions in the most correct way will have a serious advantage. Now the leaders and soldiers of the 2 countries should be much more careful with their every step. We'll see what happens in the next few days. We have reached the end of another video. You can support us by liking the video. You can easily follow new videos by subscribing. I wish you all a war-free day. See you.